As MPs, some of them new, returned to Parliament Hill this morning, Prime Minister Mark Carney is promising his government will act with, quote, urgency and determination.
This is one of the most rapid returns of Parliament in Canadian history, and it will be one, and Steve will detail, one of the most busy returns to Parliament in Canadian history.
Carney will have less than 4 weeks to get policy commitments up and running before the House of Commons then breaks for the summer next month. So for more on the Liberal government's priorities, we are joined this morning by Jason Easton, former senior advisor to Justin Trudeau in the Prime Minister's office. Welcome to your morning. We haven't spoken before, so great to meet you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Listen, the Prime Minister releasing just one mandate letter for all of his cabinet ministers. And by comparison, former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau used to write, you're smiling, used to write separate mandate letters to every member of his front bench. So what does even this step say about Carney's different approach to governing?
So Prime Minister Carney is taking a very CEO-like approach to government, rallying all of his ministers around one set of objectives and priorities and trying to drive horizontal consistency across an organization which is really a group of over 40 different government agencies and departments. So it's going to be a challenge, but it certainly signals a focused and ambitious approach, and one in which Prime Minister Carney is going to act as the CEO, driving that consistency across his mutual set of priorities.
We heard Prime Minister Carney mention that it is one of the fastest returns to Parliament, but is fast necessarily better?
I think the times require fast. Parliament has been prorogued for almost 6 months, or at least not sitting for at least 6 months. There are major challenges ahead of us, both with respect to the United States and with respect to our domestic issues, whether that's housing affordability or otherwise. We know that he has an ambitious agenda related to internal trade, and I think it has to return quickly to get started on all of those priorities that Canadians voted for.
Jason, you mentioned he has more of a CEO-style approach, and he campaigned on not being a politician. But as you know, running government is very different than leading any private sector job or board of governors or anything else. There are mechanics of operating that might be frustrating to a CEO approach. Who's helping him navigate all that?
Well, Ottawa is abuzz right now with everything you'd expect in the early days of a new government. As the Prime Minister staffs up his own office and his own team, his ministers, many of which are quite experienced, are currently staffing up their offices. And it's going to be up to those political staffers and those ministers in all of the offices to help Prime Minister Carney navigate government as the leader in charge of it. At the same time, senior public servants are working incredibly hard to do their briefings, to get folks up to speed, and to give the Prime Minister the best advice possible on how to achieve his ambitious mandate. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. Yes, the federal government is significantly different than running a business. At many times, it can be much slower, but there are a lot of similarities. Businesses themselves, especially large organizations, they have silos. They have different functional organizations that you need to work across. And I think Prime Minister Carney will do a good job at doing that.
Parliament expected to break for the summer on June 20th, so Prime Minister Carney says a middle-class tax cut is going to be the first bill his government introduces. He's also promised to remove interprovincial trade barriers by July 1st, by Canada Day. But the thing that's really different about running a private company, again, is you don't have to face opposition, an official opposition party. It needs to be heard, that needs their arguments heard. With such a slim minority in the House, what's it going to take for the Liberals to deliver on those promises in this short amount of time?
Well, I think the early days of this Parliament are going to really tell the tale. Canadians voted, I think, overwhelmingly for a Liberal government. It is a very strong minority. And parties across the board advocated for measures that improved affordability for Canadians at home. So a middle-class tax cut should be something that opposition parties are able to work with the governing Liberals on. At the same time, though, just from a tax law and implementation standpoint, getting this legislation introduced into this session of Parliament will enable the Canada Revenue Agency to start implementing it. So as this Parliament gets started, Canadians should start to experience the benefits of that tax cuts as CRA starts to implement it.
The Prime Minister's mandate letter that we talked about off the top is also promising fundamentally different approaches to governing. So you worked under the previous Prime Minister. How are you expecting the Carney Liberals to be different from the Trudeau Liberals?
Well, from day one, Prime Minister Carney, I think, has shown and has signaled that he wants to be an action-oriented Prime Minister who is focused on deliverables. I think the times right now require that those deliverables be economic. And whether it is diversifying international trade abroad, whether it is establishing a more resilient Canadian economy at home through internal trade or through other measures, I think you're going to see a laser-like focus from Prime Minister Carney on those issues as we work through our current trade dispute with the United States.
Jason, I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to even just seeing the difference of what it looks like in the House. You've got a new Prime Minister on one side. You've got Andrew Scheer, not the leader of the official opposition, although the leader of the official opposition in the House. You got a smaller NDP. You've got one Green Party member. It's going to be a fun day. Thanks for joining us this morning. Great to meet you.
Thank you.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.